Denver that was supposed to be in Boston for Denver that was supposed to be 2 hours leeway. Well, it got to be later and later, and I thought I was going to miss it, but we got into Boston, and a Pan Am agent met me right at the plane, and I had to go through health inspection and customs and get my luggage down at the other plane, and I just barely made it. I had 30 minutes when we landed in Boston to catch my plane, and I made it. So then it was a 4-hour flight to Denver. By that time, I'd been in the air about 12 hours. So I was pretty tired when I came to Denver, and it took me a while to get back into the swing of things. I'm still not sure I am. And then I'm going to be going back, and it's going to be worse. Mama says don't erase this tape because of what Catherine's saying on it.
Hi. I'm Inger.
Inger. Who?
Miss recording, see? You won't get set it on without it. No, I think we got a 10.1 reading level, and now that reading material is set up. We set it up. We don't take a test from any school and use it. We make our own tests, and so that the material that we test is the one that we make up. Tell about it, Ben. We have the lady that you just saw is the health officer. She's a nurse, registered nurse. And down there in the headmaster's office, down there, and the controller. And in there, down at the end there, is the television and TV rooms and so forth. This is the lab. This lab was donated to us by Union Carbide. Union Carbide. See, if we asked them for money, they don't give money, so they gave us the whole lab. Anything that we wanted, they gave us an architect to design. Mr. Chinevsky is the charge of the science department. That's biology over there. Now this is a dance group. Harlem Prep have its own dance group that go all over the country dancing. Very outstanding one. Right. Now this is our dining area, I mean the lunch area, and so forth.
Thank you. I always like this area the best.
Yeah.
But I like, you know.
Our students eat here. Our students eat here. Some of these are students. Lady with the spirit is Kayne. That's our guidance counselor. Guidance here includes personal, women with the student with the children, problem with the children, anything. Guidance is not only education here, it's everything. Teachers don't only teach educationally here, you are also involved with the student's personal life. They bring to you and your this is our art department. All of that does this is different. It's the most outstanding of our art students. As a matter of fact, works at best. He is really a professional caliber, as you would notice. This is work here too.
Yeah, I saw it.
This one is working now on, okay? He's working on this now. And that one at the bottom, you know.
Black folks in a draw, see?
And these are some of the students. These people are from the University of Denver, Colorado.
Wait a minute, I'm talking about you.
Colorado State. Colorado State.
Yes, sir. They started a program with black youth, right? Like that in the community, and we live right in the community, so we don't have to go far to even get to you.
Right.
And we've got going to be a store to convert similar to where you have it.
Well, why don't I would suggest to you, if you want any help, you can engage Mr. Carpenter or somebody from the school to come over, even if it's a weekend or so, and you need help. I'm sure Mr. Carpenter, Mother Dow, Mr. Lewis, or any one of the people involved with this program who knows the program would come over.
To set it up.
Come over. It'd work with you, even if it's a week. You can borrow them for a week. We extend that kind of courtesy, so that that way you would. Right. This is a long period of begging, and when I say begging, not in the sense of, but cooperating, showing industry where it's to their benefit to sponsor things like this. Rather than sponsoring basketball games and football games and going to the beach, you sponsor education, and this pay off. You see.
But if you close the education, yeah, you close that economical.
Well, sure. Not only that, you close your jails. Right. It costs $6,000 a year to keep a prisoner. It only costs about $2,000 to keep this a year for student. Now, which it's up to the what manufacturer you want.
The industry, right?
The industry want. If they want to pay $6,000 or they want to pay $2,000.
What do you plan?
You know, if they're any kind of good business.
Where do I plan? Well, I'm coming back here next year. I'm staying another year because I want to continue my painting and whatnot. But I haven't decided. I'm interested
Where's some of yours?
I just took mine home. Mine is hanging up in the museum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the office. Just a place called the Studio Museum in Harlem on 125th on 5th Avenue, 125th and 126th.
125th. How do we get there from here?
You go across town, like this is on the west side. You have to go over to 5th Avenue to say that. Over to 5th Avenue, catch the 5th Avenue bus downtown and get off at 125th Street. Then you.
Oh, this is about 3:30.
It's the place is on 5th Avenue. It's on 5th Avenue between 126th and 125th Street.
Stop seeing and saying
Yeah,
that.
the big blue sign
Started
on
by
this
4.
building. It says the Studio Museum. You walk up one flight, and that's the museum.
Seriously, we gotta
Go
get
by
going.
Yeah, check it out because it's a good show. My piece is in the office.
Any other black artists too?
Yeah, they have a lot of black artists.
Oh,
They have
okay.
there's 2 rooms that's showing African art, African sculpture and whatnot, and the other one is contemporary.
Because the class don't be paying me no attention. They keep making up stories that we never learned that.
Fifth Avenue. It's, you see, if you want the number,
Yeah, please.
You don't need any black
We came up from Philadelphia, and there was one place we wanted to visit was here. And then now we'll go there, too, before we return back tonight.
I think it's 20, no, it's not 20.
You see, you're, with this open room area and everything you have here.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, it is.
It's really nice. Well, see, we have all that open area. We're trying to figure out how do you
They was telling me to get off of them that
go from here.
that you ain't showed us. We gotta get some more, venues.
It's all, this is like this.
And we thought maybe we needed room dividers, and now we're glad to see.
I'm ready.
I can give it to you. We
No,
don't
I'm
need
ready.
any
The
room.
armory, you know, this is the armory.
But they making like the least little thing hurting us.
Yeah, I forgot the
What's that guy's name?
number of the
What-
building.
what is in the group?
That's okay if you.
Oh, Jimmy.
It's just.
And he was
close
doing like
there.
this.
We'll
I
just
said, we should
add.
go a little bit further. He told me I'm hurting his back.
What about you? Are you going to school soon, or what are your plans here in the near future?
No, I think I must, stay here a little while.
How long have you been here?
A year.
How do you like it?
I like it. It's all right,
I'm interested in like
Oh,
education,
but see, do you know this is the first in the whole nation of such a program? And what we all of our black Harlems need is just, like in Denver, we came from Harlem, Denver. so it's about the same as Harlem, Philadelphia. The way we see Harlem, Philadelphia and everything.
Well, let's have the card.
We're right there in the corner of the city.
I forgot the exact the number, the address, but you can't miss it. It's right in the middle of the block. It has this blue sign over these two steel doors.
We know how to get down there. So the Fifth Avenue, we can go from there.
Just take the Fifth Avenue bus down 125th. And then walk back a block.
Yeah, like we did here, because we got off at 8th. We took the 8th Avenue, and then we just got, got off and walked from 136th to 135th. I think we were down 137. And we came out of the subway then.
Yeah.
And then we came off. One thing we knew we were at home. We knew all we had to do was keep going. Good luck to you.
Excuse me, what do you have for black students at Colorado State?
Right. We don't give kids stadium because that's all they know is to play. We're not letting them play.
There's something, Annie, I'll be there. Right, don't miss it, I will be there at the crawl there because Mr. Utterback took such a cut when he found out it was Harlem Prep. His people refuse to take money. The only money he's taking is for their bus to come back and forth from Jersey and to pay for the ham and organ. That's all. Isn't that marvelous? And the Utterback, and they go like, they are Carnegie, Hall, and
big name.
But as soon as finally found Harlem Prep, he wouldn't take a cent. Our parents went in and said we can't afford to give any more than $800. So he says, all right, what is it, a little group? They said, yeah, our parents' group. Then when they found out it was Harlem Prep, he called them up and said they couldn't take the money. The people, his choir voted and stuff. That would never to make you cry.
Isn't it beautiful?
People like Billy Taylor was in here the other day. He gave a concert out of sight.
And I had to be sick that night.
But Doc hasn't been well, and he like everybody here. He just about given his life Harlem Prep. I know I had a stroke. I'm not supposed to be here. The doc's not supposed to be here. A lot of people are not supposed to be here. It's a hard job. But once you make this commitment, you just can't go back.
You're trying to redo what has been done.
And we doing it, baby. Here, with the kids define a leader as a doer, so do your due.
And they feel...
That's right. Our kids are static too, you see. What happened, I know the attendance, I've kind of figured out now why we have bad attendance at times. Our kids, they get that point, they really don't believe what's happening.
Yes. Very good analysis. They can't believe this is happening. Right.
That there is this second chance and that people love them. They can't really believe that you love them. They learn eventually that you love them. You curse them out because you love them. And now what people say, well, the parents say, I whip you because I like you, is a difficult thing to understand. And now until they get to understand this, that we yell at them and we say things because we love them, then they get gone home when they really understand what's happening.
Exactly.
But when they really realize it is when they go to that college and come back. The testimony, I call it, testimonials.
Like this morning?
Yeah, the testimonials.
Why do you think I called that meeting today? Morale was lagging.
That's right. That's what I tell them. We don't we call assembly. Right. What I told you, we call assembly not by dates, by spec. We call it when we need it. In the middle of anything, we just say stop everything and let's call an assembly.
I said, teachers, forgive me. I know you want to go on, but something more important. There's some static going on here. We're going to get with it. And they open. And they learn to speak without hurting feelings. Oscar, come in and say hello to the good people. This is Oscar Williams. Oscar has been accepted at college.
Where you going, Oscar? Huh? Where you going? Where's that?
23rd Street.
Oh, it's in New York.
Yeah, you got full scholarship, too.
I had a scholarship.
Hey, Doc, you know he got married.
Oh, you didn't know that. I got married the day after Christmas.
You were the one who told me you'd never get married.
Yeah, all that job he would have me. He had these chicks running after him. Yeah.
Did you know that I had a scholarship from Cornell?
Yeah, I knew it. And I knew it. I know, but I know a lot. You know I know.
Yeah,
you know why. I know. That's all right, baby. What's important is what's now.
Right.
It's what's now.
I can't wait till September.
Don't look back, baby. What's chasing you may catch up.
So you're going to art school?
Oh, I cannot wait. I've wanted to go to school like
Right.
It took me like about 6 or 7 years to do it, but I've done it.
Well, this probably school. This is one of the better schools.
It
I
is.
mean,
It's one of the best art schools in the country.
We have some of his originals that he sold to me very cheaply.
I was at your house yesterday.
I know it. And Osha
Very
stayed
impressed.
for me. You like it? You like what you
Yeah.
dig? You dig where I'm coming from?
I love the furniture.
You dig it, don't
There's
you?
one chair that I'm crazy about.
Which one is that? Chinese chair?
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from, baby.
Yeah.
The Oriental and
oh,
African.
this is Miss
This is
Kyla.
Ruth
This
Kyler.
is Miss Kyla. I told you about our guidance counselor.
Oh, nice to meet you.
They're from Detroit, Ruthie.
No, no, no.
No,
Denver.
For Denver. Wow.
Long way to get here.
Yeah, you long way.
State University.
They're going to open up a prep.
Right.
Yeah.
Ruth is also the den mother.
We have a
That's a good one. I never heard of Den mother. Hey, Ruthie. That's good. That's good, Oscar.
good luck to you.
She's a faculty girl.
What's the story on him? His mother's so concerned. She talked to me last night for about 15 minutes. She was crying.
How important the atmosphere is conducive to learning, and how some of our schools, are just building structures. There's nothing comfortable, beautiful like this. I have never seen a school
Not only
like
that,
this.
the students feel more of a togetherness. They feel, see, they're not shut off from each other. And they're always, it's a community. This is a family school. And none of the students, they've got problems and they share it with each other, share it with the instructor.
And how are the parents and family brought in?
Families are here. Families are involved. We got a parent teachers association. We have parents on the board of directors as well as students. They have full vote. The student here decide and faculty pay. Decide if the faculty gonna be fired. Yeah. I was telling them.
This is a community school in what
yes.
way? In
Oh
other
yeah.
words,
We
this
got
is a
students
true
on the board and we got parents on the board, and alumni on the board. And we got rich, poor, white, black, green on the board. Yeah, see?
That's the beautiful thing about it. You get a chance to learn not to lie. Like one day they made a statement in somebody's dance class. I don't know how it got it, but they started putting down Dr. Kayne and Lord Malcolm. And it tickled me because I was walking by, I'm always walking by. I heard something in the office, everything. And I also usually teach. Everybody should. Ben jumped about 10 feet off the floor, and he went back into his bag, and it was beautiful. I remember this part of it because I learned, he said, King is the only man that he knows in history that is a theologian that unified all theology for moral good and got him out of the pulpit into the street. Yeah. And when I thought about that, I thought, wow, that's true, let's take it. King had a program. Tell me Malcolm's program. It's about a rhetoric. See, Malcolm was beautiful from the point of view
As an individual, yeah. He had a program.
Yeah.
King had a program. You think what I'm saying? And I love Malcolm too, believe me. In fact, I'm more Malcolm than King.
Right, I think most of us are today.
But, he made them broad. Yesterday,
what we need to be is a combination of two, maybe.
Of all.
Of
all the things. See,
that's
right. See, a rap wrong to me is as needed as a king.
That's right.
The society needs all blacks in all facets, all expressions. All expressions.
This new black expression that's come, this new birth of blackness that has come through the writings, and for once our people are writing for us. Just like the artwork we just saw, this is us, this is our artwork, this is the way we look. Nobody's taking faces and coloring them over.
I just came back from the Black Madonna, the Shrine of the Black Madonna in Detroit. You've probably heard about it, Reverend Cleave. And this is my second time going there. I went to the convention, and then I was called back to give a lecture Sunday night. And I gave this lecture. Now, that's another phase that's going on where the black ministers, not enough, are coming together to see religion, particularly Christianity, their Christianity, from a different point than the European American Christian religion that's given with the all-white Passover, which they call the Lord's Supper, which was a Passover celebration, and which Christ himself was belonged to the Jewish religion, and there was at the Passover, we was at the supper. And they're looking at things from a historical aspect, from the African point of view in religion. People forget that all of the whole Passover and all this thing took place in Africa. It took place in Egypt.
Right.
And it was an African thing.
Right. And how do we bring this to our black youth today? Because
you've got to know the history.
Black youth are down on Western.
No, you see, for instance, when the black kid says, Moses run from the Pharaoh. Now they unless you have somebody who knows the history to show, which Pharaoh? The Pharaoh was Ramesses II. Where was he running from the Pharaoh? In Africa, in Egypt. And who was Moses? An African. He was born in Egypt, never went out of Egypt. And how we know it? His own wife that he married later, telling her father, when the father said, "Oh, you come back from the well," she said, "That Egyptian helped me." Now we know that the Egyptians were black, they were Africans, they were what you would call Negroes in America, or niggers. How we know? When we look at Herodotus, the Greek, in 415, his own work, he says, describing the Egyptians, Herodotus says in Histories #2, he says the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, and the Cultures have thick lips, broad nose, woolly hair, and they're burnt of skin. Now that is only one group of people that fits that description. And that's the Greek. That's the Greek. I mean, what I'm saying is that at that time, people won't hang up in color. So Herodotus had no problem describing these, because these were the people who were the educators of the world at the time.
Well, I read the book once that pointed out that Herodotus did describe the people that exist.
Well, here it is. Now, you don't need to read a book. Read Herodotus himself in History's book 2. And he described the Egyptians, Ethiopians, and Cultures as having thick lips, wide nose, woolly hair, and burnt of skin. Now, you know he's describing a soul brother.
Yeah, but
they used to wear wigs.
That's right. The Egyptians wore wigs.
Well, you know, in our history book, they took
animals,
that out,
the lion. You see, the lion was the animal, and they wore wigs to show the strength of the lion mane. They shaved their hair. Right. And they got their lions from Punt, all the way where Somaliland was now. And this is the thing, we don't teach black studies here. And we won't ever teach black studies here. We teach African American, and African Caribbean studies, you see? Because what is black studies? If somebody asks you,
that's what these kids are getting hung up.
Yeah.
And that's why they're going to get money cut off.
That's right.
I was reading articles.
When they come out, they still don't know the history. It's all rhetoric.
Well, see, now, in the white institutions, you're taught what they want to teach you of history.
They don't teach white studies.
So they don't talk about Herodotus.
No, but they don't teach white studies.
Only that part where we got
history.
I took Greek.
We want ours included in it. See?
But ours is not included in it because now, see, I majored in it in my college
I disagree with you.
It's been hidden.
Our studies are in the college right now. We got to identify it.
How do we go about identifying it?
Okay. You got to have people who are.
I majored
you got
in college in
historians.
history.
You got to have people who specialize in the history of the African American, and African Caribbean people. For example, you've got, and then you got to write. You got to write textbooks. You got to start. In other words, we got a lot of people who have recently written. I lost my mother in the mountain. Who shot whom in the bathtub? And I was a little distorted prostitute's son. This is the kind of book we've been turning out. But now we have to turn out the textbook that don't bring that kind of money.
Right.
See? And we've got to write books about us, and we have to go back into, no problem, there are millions of books on us. And I think that I got something here that I've just picked up this morning. Is an indication of, indicative of what I'm saying to you.
Yes.
And you saw it this morning?
Yeah,
the Black
we saw
Studies,
it
a report. And the point that is important, very important down here.
You got in the Philadelphia
Dr.
paper.
Emmanuel Wallerstein, African specialist at Columbia University, one of the handful of whites teaching Black studies in New York City, a tall man with an aurora of brown curls and a definitive mustache, waved toward the wall of his office and said, I have row and row of books in African history going back 3,000 years. He said, the history of the black men in the Western Hemisphere has many documents as any other part of the American or Caribbean history. True, they have been less worked on, but the basic documents are floating around. Now listen to this. As for African history, we have more written documents than anybody believed possible in 10 years ago. They are just returning up at all over the places. We have stuff that goes back 1,000 years, and you know, we don't have anything in England, France, or Germany older than that. Not an item. In other words, this man is saying that this old story about there is nothing in Africa that is written in length. He's saying that there's just as much written about Africa as old as anybody else's own. And there is none older in Germany. Nowhere in Europe, England and France. The only place you're going to find older than that would be in Greece, and that is younger than Ethiopia, and even Greece doesn't have as much as old as Ethiopia and so forth. Now that's from Wallerstein, a white professor.
And I understand
one of the few.
You've been to Africa too.
Huh?
You were born.
Yes. And this is what we need. I don't waste time writing those kind of things. I write strictly research work, textbooks, and so forth, because that's what we need. And until black people write their history, they never have no history. Because nobody's going to write your history the way you will write it.
Right.
Nobody can be interested in you as much as you're interested in yourself.
And what would you say some of our best authorities would be in America besides you? I know you are
word authority.
One.
I wouldn't use the word authority because we get hung up. It's those authorities that have messed it up. I would say that I wouldn't point out anyone. I would say that you have to pick up the work and analyze it and see it. I would say that there are many writers who have turned out work, like Du Bois, like Carter G. Woodson, Rogers, and other men like that, Franklin Frazier and so forth. But I wouldn't tend to rate anyone more than the other. I feel that blacks, and I'm not going to say that you need degrees to do it either.
Oh no.
Because our best works have come from men that, and that goes for the whites too. I'm saying is that the blacks, however, have to learn to write
That's okay, we don't mind, our kids do that. We don't get uptight.
Books that don't particularly give bestsellers in our history. And we have to have more historians and anthropologists among us.
Well, see, some of the companies where we were looking at books down there at the convention, they had, you know, all these beautiful little headings about Africa and etc., and about 2 and 3 pages long, and this kind of stuff. But you and I know that one book could deal completely with Africa and with more volumes to come. So now, with us trying to start a resource library for our youth, because they're like me, ignorant of our history, let alone America's, Black America's history here, and as well as Africa. Most of us that even majored in it, whether in high school or college, and that was one of my majors, I do recognize how ignorant I am as to our heritage. And we've been here at least 6 generations.
There's another point, you see. Black historians are going to have to be ready to call names. And
very good performer.
They're going to have to be able to call it. We're going to have to be able to withstand names like anti-Semite and whatnot. I'm going down to the Immigration Department Thursday coming because I give a lecture in a synagogue and dare to say that Moses was a black man and that the 10 Commandments didn't come to Moses at Mount Sinai. I dare to go and say the truth. And then I show that the 10 Commandments come from the negative confession which Moses learned in Egypt. The negative confession more than 2,000 years before Moses was born, that the Egyptians had, it was 147 laws, of which the 10 Commandments are 10 of them in there. And that Moses didn't go on no Mount Sinai, and the whole story about Moses and Mount Sinai is a damn lie. But that it was the mythology, that the Jews had nothing else but what they learned in Egypt. They had no religion, they had nothing when they come in Egypt. And that when they leave, they had no book. So that what they knew for 400 years, there's no history before that. They learned in Egypt. And the 10 Commandments only 10 out of them. The negative confession is right here, which I'm right now, here is it right here, in this book. Here's the negative confession right there. And you would, it's 147, I only have 37 years shown in that book. And that's where the 10 Commandments come from. And the reason they call it negative confession is the fact that instead of saying thou shalt not, it's saying I have not. That means it's the answers to the laws. And that is taken from what is called the coffee text.
They haven't accepted the fact that Moses was black.
Well, how could they? They can't accept that.
Isn't that why they
even
don't
though the
accept
history
Jesus
says
Christ,
that. They can't accept it because they've been teaching something else when we were in no position to refute it. And when the ancient books were not at our disposal, now that we have the ancient books at our disposal, no way to go and find them, now they can't hide them from us no longer. And this is what's dangerous about. That's why I don't call it black studies.
You know, J.I.A. Rogers' books, they won't even put them in the public library.
Well, sure, they can't have them in there.
And they wrote on the 5 Negro presidents. But do you know who the 5 are?
Well, they're listed in 100 Amazing Facts about the thing.
Right.
Well,
I just got a copy of that.
Yeah, that's 100 Amazing Facts about that. But you see, another thing is that in this school we don't particularly deal with characters and chronology. We deal with the depth of history rather than the individual. And point out what this individual and give a story about it. We deal with more the depth of the history itself, rather than the individual in the history. See, because then you get hung up in name and chronology.
And you don't believe in looking at history through chronology at
all? No, history through chronology is a boring thing, and it doesn't relate. We teach history here. We deal with the historical aspect, but we relate it to the present. What's good is go down to the line and tell the students who did what and what happened when, and it doesn't mean anything to the student more than to know it happened. We use it as a means of motivating the students to doing the same or better. And if we can't relate it in that way, then it's no good. We relate, for example, Hatshepsut, Queen Hatshepsut, to a woman, to a mother of the children in here, who she was, what she did as a woman, and so forth, and what black women could do as a result. For instance, Cleopatra is no beauty in this school because there was nothing beautiful about Cleopatra. That's strictly European, because this was an Egyptian queen who had both African and European parents. And because she had that, they make her the most beautiful one because she had that European background in her. But Hatshepsut, Cleopatra was a murderer, right? You see, we don't take the heroes just because it was given. We look into it. Cleopatra was a murderer. She murdered almost everybody she got near, including trying to murder her own son for Caesar.
Right.
So there's nothing beautiful about her. And there is no pictures of Cleopatra to say that she was beautiful. This is a myth that went on. See? And we don't go along because there's a myth is there. It's like Irene, my class is about Crispus Attucks. I don't say nothing. I tell people there's a fellow named Crispus Attucks and he was in the war, he got shot. There's nothing Crispus Attucks did. All Chris Peseta did was to stand up there and got shot with like the other whites who got shot with him. But I speak about Harriet Tubman, then Mapese, Nat Turner, Phoebe Francis. They did things.
Yes.
Chris Peseta got shot with 13 other white people standing up. Now, what's heroic about that? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
But we had to hold on that because at one time these are the heroes that were fed to us.
Right.
And we had no others, so we had to grab on them. But now we have to decide among ourselves, are these really heroes?
Yeah,
Which
like
ones
George
are the
Washington
heroes?
Carver, he was
Yeah,
given to us.
right.
And that's
Well,
about
Carver,
it.
what did Carver do, really?
Frederick Douglass, I didn't know he was a black
Carver
man.
did whatever Carver did for America, not for whites and not for blacks. Plus, when Carver died, there were a lot of experiments there that he didn't even let his assistant blacks know what it is. They're right there in bottles and nobody know what to do. But it was given to us, and we still hang on to it. We have to go and check our heroes. Check what our people
Well, we've
did.
only had before white heroes.
But I'm saying,
and heroing.
But I'm saying,
now we
even
know
though,
we have
even
our
though,
own.
therefore it is we're obligated, those of us who are in history,
Instead of what they give us as
to
still
go and check. We don't take what nobody gives us.
Because
if we find out what they've given us is so bad, we can't take nothing. We've got to go to all of them they've given and check them out. See if they're all right. If they're not, drop it. We shouldn't be just like the Pope the other day decided to drop some saints that weren't saints. We don't know they aren't no saints. But if he could drop some saints that weren't saints, we could drop some heroes that weren't heroes. Okay? Just like they try to give us Joe Louis as a hero, Jackie Robinson a hero. Well, they're no hero because the man can hit a ball. Already he's a hero baseball player, that's all. He's no hero anything else. But what they give us, and then another thing is, take Muhammad Ali. We've got to show Muhammad Ali as the world's greatest champion during his lifetime. And he's still the champion up to now. Now we've got to write about it that way. We aren't supposed to be interested in man religion. That has nothing to do with what he could box.
But that was why he was demolished from the white man.
Right. In other words, what I'm saying is that we've got to decide who our heroes are. And we've got to examine those that were given, check them out.
How do you pronounce his name?
Oh, Sinclair? Sinclair,
no.
Black Reconstruction something, Sinclair Drake.
No. What's his name? He was
the African, they had trials, Supreme Court admitted he was free man, was on the ship Amistad.
Yes, right.
Are you talking about Cinque?
Cinque
from Cuba that came.
Right. Right. Now, this is the Black Cross you were saying as well as Harriet Tubman, when they give the awards they're endeavoring forward to the black youth as to people they respect. Now, he was with the mutiny on the Amistad.
Well, this is the whole aspect of what the African Studies Department, which I'm chairman of there, and African American, we Caribbean.
Is that here in New York?
This is our department
for right here.
Right upstairs. What you get in college, what you would get in college, what I teach in college, I teach right up here. And my department is set up to teach at the college level. We teach the type of African studies here that you would not get until you're in postgraduate work. Research. Right now, my students are now, they've passed the history, they're now in social anthropology. And they're studying various ethnic groups in Africa, subgroups and all them, going down and detailing social structure, lineage, all that they're involved with now.
In fact, we had a family structure there that was destroyed
they're in
when we came here.
They are in that.
What other subjects, Dr. Ben, now are going on? I wonder if
we teach here, well, of course, all the major subjects required, like math, English, science, and so forth.
And do you relate these to the blacks that have been involved in all these different fields too?
Right. They're mentioned in the African Studies course. Now, we also teach rhetoric. There's a course here in semantics. There's a course here in logic. See what I'm saying? No, regular high school don't have that.
No.
And there's a course here in space science. We have one here in banking and finance. We have comparative economics. Besides economics, we have comparative economic systems. That's dealing, comparing. We don't take no position whether it's capitalism, good communism. We compare the economic systems, how they function, rather than to say which one is good and which one is bad. We leave that to the student to decide. We compare, for example, communalism, capitalism, socialism, feudalism, communalism, and we put these together and show how the economic systems of each work, rather than to say which is right and which is wrong, and let the students make that decision. We have music here. That's mostly in the afternoon. That's in the afternoon. That's after in the afternoon. We have art. We have television, electronics and communication media. Right next door there. We have what else?
What about computer training?
We don't have that. Cybernetics we don't have. They may develop it. As I said, this is generally done for. That would be generally done to put a person out in the street to work with a high school diploma. We don't train for high school diplomas. We train for college. High school diploma is only one of the things you get. Our point is not the diploma here. It is to put you into the college.
And then after you're in
then you
college,
you can take anything you want. But these are the basics that you need plus some.
How successful have the students been that have gone into the college?
We haven't lost a student yet out of college. That should be the answer of it. That they're all in there. We've sent over 190. They're all still there. Not one we've lost. And that's our success. We are. As you come out this door, straight to your left, you see the assignment room. It's about about the second or third door down on the left.
Now, I want to hold you up any longer because I know you got a big full day, but I do want to know the names of some of the books that you have written or edited so that we can be sure to get them. I love the one that yesterday.
Didn't they give you a
I'm
copy?
Gonna get that. No, I'm gonna get that for my
so many
children.
People.
Yeah,
that they couldn't give out to everybody.
Because see, there were thousands of people from all all across the nation.
They couldn't give out 1,000 copies.
No. But the name of that one, I wrote it down yesterday.
Africa, Land, People, Culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's like I catch it too.
So what is the other book?
Well, I have I have a book that's coming out the end of May. I'm publishing it my own self. I'm my own publisher.
Oh, no, wonderful.
And this one comes out 2 months later. And that one is called Black Men of the Nile.
Black Men of the Nile. And this one will be
African Origins of the Major Religions Adopted by the Western World. And in bracket it will be Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And little bracket.
And this one will have more about where we were during the Christian days.
This
noticed
deal with all religions.
Chronology, that's why I asked you that question. So many times we're sort of like Dark Ages when during the days of Christ, as if we didn't exist. This booklet I picked up yesterday from the American, it's the Negro Life or something. It's that company. They put out the magazine and everything. American Negro Life or something, I don't know. But anyway, they have a chronology booklet, and it skips from before Christ, last year, then starts way up about 300 AD. Yeah, well, and then there's nothing in between there during the days.
That's crazy, because you got Augustine and all of them.
Well, then, but Christ now, wasn't Mary supposed to have been...
well, you see, we don't put this mythology about Jesus and things. If you get hung up in there, you're in problems. Most religion have its mythological history. And when you get hung up in the myth, as to whether to try to find a logic to the myth or a history to the myth, you got problems. Because one man...
many of us are today.
So we don't worry with this. We deal with things that are historical rather than the mythical. As to take, for instance, about Jesus' birth from a virgin and all that kind of thing.
That is not true.
Nonsense. And if you want to get hung up in there, you're in problems.
No. Because I don't believe in the virgin birth.
But we have historical records of the whole North African church. Egypt, where the whole church started in Egypt. And with Pantheus and all of these people, we deal with it here. It's been dealt with in this book. And This book talks with the origin of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It's African origin this book deals with. It's giving you just the things that you're saying.
Well, see,
and it compares it with voodoo and obia and black magic and whatnot, showing that it's no different, that these elements are within it.
This is what we try to help education understand in Denver, that we didn't just drop out of space and we just didn't start here. They take us from the neighborhood here and bring us out. We never get back to the homeland, just like they said everybody else had a homeland. Right, we're still there in 1619, and then they're starting out to take us to the 1500s, you know.
Oh, well,
but
we start
but
here.
We started
our history here starts at 1,750,000 BC. In this building, we start our history at 1,750,000 BC with the Xanthropus-voice, and we come up to 1970. This is how we start our history. We deal with the Nile, with the ancient pyramids, with the Sphinx. We talk. This is what we're dealing with here. We deal with the Carthaginians, the Ethiopians, the Cushites, the Punt, Numidians, Nubians. This is the history we go back into. And then we come all the way up. Zimbabwe, Monomatapa, we deal with the whole thing.
Well, as you said, if you research and look into it, you'll find the information, because they said that the life began right there in Tigris and then now.
The Tigris and Euphrates is an old discarded thing. Nobody use that
now
no
it's starting back to the now.
Nobody use that no more. The Tigris and Euphrates theory about Adam and Eve is decayed. Nobody mention it no more. Unless some ministers of church don't know what's happening.
Okay, and now it's just right back in now, which we're...
And even in Nile, we don't bother about that. There's a continuation. Where the Great Lakes area was in Xanthropus-voice, it was found. That's where it is now.
Well, now they said the original people were black.
Well, you see...
Now, this is what they...
See, then we started getting into trouble. We said that the original people, the most ancient man we have record of was born in Africa. Now, when you start to say what color it was, you got to tell you haven't found no skin on him.
You know, that's what's wrong with that educational.
You found no skin
because when you started man or something we saw on display on the exhibit. When you
started get involved with that the original man was black, you will have to prove that. You're getting the same bag that the European got in the style, but the original man was white.
It was white publishing company. They're coming out with
and what we're trying to do,
color man or something.
We find black people who are trying to get in the same bag European. In other words, I'll do one better than you, and I'll be just as ignorant as you are, and I'll be a little worse than you were. We don't get into that here. We says that the oldest fossil man dug up in history, you got any record of up to now, is in Xanthropus-voice. And it happened, and this man was excavated in what is today called the Ngorongoro crater in Tanganyika. Yeah.
That's a person by the name of Vicky Anderson. She's got number 10. So come over here, girl, and scratch my back.